Hello, I'm Ellen Horan, President and CEO of the Greater Reading Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I'm here for this week's Member Moment, Member Spotlight with Bill Woolworth, and Bill is co-owner of Dan's at Green Hills Restaurant. So, Bill, besides being called Dan half the time, how does a lawyer and a banker get into the restaurant business?
That's a really good question, Ellen. I think what really drove Monir and I, and Monir's the other owner who is an important part of the formula of Dan's because he keeps it all running while I'm always doing other things. We really didn't want to see Dan's restaurant go away in downtown Reading. And when Dan decided to sell the restaurant, it was like, okay, here's a chance to do this. And we saw a great opportunity for fine dining and that there was a lack of fine dining in Reading and Berks County at the time. And we decided to reopen the restaurant and make a go of it. And here we are today.
You kept the Dan's name because it was branded there. So that was back in what, 2006?
Yeah, actually, we had signed the deal in 2005.
Okay.
And opened in the beginning of 2006. And we've just kept going ever since. The Dan's name, people ask me every week at Green Hills, they ask me, well, why isn't it called Bill's? Why is it called Dan's? And I said, well, I was afraid if I called it Bill's, people would think we're serving burgers and beer.
Yeah.
So I thought
or pancakes, Uncle
yeah,
Bill's Pancake House.
Yeah, something like that. So it was really important to leverage off the reputation that Dan and Dan had acquired with the restaurant over 16 years of success. And we decided to take that and push it to a new level. And hence, almost 9 years later, we're still going.
Yeah. So when the Inn at Green Hills became available, you saw that as an opportunity to expand.
Yeah, and I have a little story about that
for
you, which most people probably wouldn't know, so this is their chance to know. It wasn't even technically for sale yet when we first inquired. We actually picked up the phone, tracked down the owner, and then later they listed it for sale during our negotiation process. So it was kind of interesting because people kept saying to me, why don't you do something about Green Hills? And they come into 11th and Penn, and I was like, well, we're working on it, but I couldn't tell them that.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot more space.
Yeah, a lot more.
So I remember you mentioning at the time that Monir had a little bit of anxiety over...
A lot of anxiety.
Because he's the one handling the day-to-day operations.
Correct. Yeah, and for him, he was really concerned about the additional cost, additional structure, more employees, etc. And he was really quite nervous about it. And we ended up saying to him, look, we're going to make it work. You didn't know the first time whether it was going to work or not.
Right.
So this too, we'll make it happen.
Yeah. So
and it's always a risk for anybody. And, everyone who owns a business, everybody who's ever dreamed of starting a business knows that it's a challenge. And so it was like starting all over again, even though we had an established clientele and reputation. Okay, here we are. And we had our nervous moments, as everyone does.
Now, from a menu standpoint, did you keep it the same? Did you expand it?
Yeah, we actually expanded it. I think the big opportunity we had was when we first were downtown, we had one chef with somebody helping him. And then we moved to Green Hills and had two chefs. Today, now that we went 7 days a week earlier this year, we actually have 3 chefs. But part of that was not just a little bit of the expansion of the menu. We kept our core Dan's items and added 1 or 2 Green Hills items. But we've also added a few new things that we've always wanted to be able to do. And the other thing was that we really got to a point where we could really change the menu so that every entree, when we were small and had one chef, a number of the entrees got served with the same type of sides, just for sheer execution of one person.
Sure.
Today, everything has different sides. We always encourage our customers to mix and match things, or if you want something even entirely different, to tell the chef how you would like something, we create it for them. So.
But still an upscale experience.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
A night out at Dan's is always, you're going to have a nice night out. So it's a great date night, a great celebration night. I think I went there on my 1-year anniversary in August, which was nice.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there, because the real key to our success has been a really good quality focus. We start with, quality ingredients. We have well-trained employees, but really it's all about delivering that experience to the customer. we want the food to be exceptional, but we want the service and the experience to be just as exceptional. In fact, I remember joking when we first moved to Green Hills. I would tell the servers and the staff, well, the experience starts when they come in the dining room. Then eventually we fix the outside, the entrance, and the reception area. So then I used to say the experience starts at the front door. Then we did the parking lot. So I used to say now it starts when you pull in.
Right.
And it's kind of really, that's part of what it is, Ellen, is it's really an experience. We want people to have a wonderful time from the moment that they pull in till the moment they leave.
Right.
That's our objective.
And of course, about a year ago, you did your physical expansion with the beautiful, beautiful patio out the back. It is quite spectacular.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a big addition for us. We normally keep it set with about 40 chairs, but we could do up to 65 people out there easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seems like I've seen parties out there.
Yes,
or,
absolutely.
Groups, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, it's a whole new venue for us and our customers.
Good. Let me ask you, I always hear, that the restaurant business is one of the most difficult entrepreneurial experiences that there is, with staffing and suppliers and weather, and so many things can affect, whether people come out. What have you found to be the biggest challenges?
The biggest challenge is really two things. Staffing, controlling costs, but still being able to, on a moment's notice, turn that and deliver for the customer. For example, I remember when we first moved to Green Hills, one of our early Christmas seasons, everyone called us with more reservations, more people, more. Well, guess what? All of a sudden you have more staff, you have more people come in and help you, and you make it work. You always find a way to deliver. And sometimes it's a little tough,
right?
Because we do have physical constraints of the property. So, but that's tough. And then you can go from one extreme where you're completely full, and the next night you might have 20 customers. So you could have 200 people one night and 20 the next day. So staffing, controlling costs, inventory, it's really a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that we have gotten much better at over the years. I think, anybody who survives a certain amount of time period in this business. But the restaurant industry, to your point, has a very high failure rate.
Yeah. Right.
So I think the other key to that is Monir and I are there all the time. So when I'm not at the bank, I am there on the weekends. Monir is there every single day, so to make sure it runs well.
Right. Well, you must be doing it quite well, because last year at the Chamber's annual dinner, Monir and Bill were recognized as our number 2 top entrepreneurial company, and that's an award that's based on sales growth. So congratulations on that. You must be doing something well.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we first moved there, we might have doubled our sales, and now here we are 2 years later and have tripled our sales from where we first started downtown. A lot of risk, a lot of expense, but it's very rewarding. I'm glad that that it has been successful, so that I'm not eating my words. I'm sure every entrepreneur has been in that situation where sometimes I have these ideas and they're not quite as good, but we talked about leveraging off of the Dan's name, but also the wonderful space and the type of clientele that the Green Hills Inn always had. Really, it was a good strategic move for us. And that's one of my best recommendations to other entrepreneurs too, is really think through your strategy, because we looked at tens of places to move to when we decided to move, and we kept coming back to this one.
Yeah. Well, in closing, Bill, is there some resource or something unique about Berks County that you would recommend to some of the other chamber members that assisted you in your growth that you would recommend to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people need to understand that there are a lot of resources available in Berks County. Of course, the Chamber of Commerce is always there for us, always providing a lot of good experience, a lot of good resources and networking, great opportunities. I think the other thing that when we very first started that people don't realize is, even in the lending community, which being a banker myself, we did use the community fund or community first fund. Thank you, Ellen. Yep. And to provide some gap financing and to help us get it rolling. And Now, I think that people need to understand that these resources are available, and you should utilize them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for coming out and sharing your story, and thanks for being a member of the Chamber.
Thank you.